20 साल पहले 9/11 हुआ था, 20 साल के बाद अब फिर 9/11 आ रहा है। हम ये खसूसी प्रोग्राम है 9/11 के हवाले से हम आपके सामने पेश कर रहे हैं। मिस्टर डैन, आप पायलट रहे हैं अमेरिका नेवी में भी, आप उसके बाद कमर्शियल पायलट भी रहे हैं। जनरल अमजद शोएब साहब भी कह रहे थे कि ये पायलट्स जाकर ऐसे नहीं टकरा सकते जिन्होंने 1.5 साल की, मैं उन अरब पायलट्स की बात कर रहा हूं, तो कैसे फिर ये जहाज टकराए जाकर?
Okay, I have flown airplanes for 35 years in 20 different aircraft.
I see.
And crewed 20,000 flight hours, and I can unequivocally say I could not have flown the 9/11 flight profiles, in particular the Pentagon profile, because if you take a look at this 29-year-old Saudi Arabian named Hani Hanjour, he commenced a 330-degree turn just west of the Pentagon, descending and accelerating to 500 knots to arrive precisely at the surface and strike the Office of Naval Intelligence at over 500 knots without skidding the surface and without, on his first attempt. This same maneuver was replicated in a simulator and flown by highly experienced pilots, and without exception they crashed every time they tried it. It's next to impossible. But it should be pointed out that Hani Hanjour, 1 month prior to 9/11, tried to rent a Cessna 172, a little single-engine prop airplane, from the Freeway Airport in Maryland, and they refused to rent it to him because he couldn't handle that airplane. And yet we're led to believe that he could have flown this complex maneuver. So,
फिर ये जहाज कैसे टकराया जाकर?
Okay. I am currently the director and public spokesperson for a global grassroots effort called 9/11 Pilot Whistleblowers. We got a website at 911pilots.org you mentioned,
okay,
but it's got a lot of information on it. But our purpose is to show that there were no Muslim hijackers at the controls of the 9/11 aircraft, but that they were electronically hijacked through employment of a system called the uninterruptible autopilot that enables a remote source to take complete control of the aircraft's autopilot and flight management computers and drive the aircraft to its target destination. Now, once this system is engaged, the pilots can no longer disconnect it. And we've got a whole page on our website devoted to remote controlled airplanes, because people will say that's not possible.
आप ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि पायलट्स बिल्कुल ही उन जहाज उनके काबू में नहीं था और ग्राउंड से ऑपरेट हो रहा था?
That's correct. That's correct. And people will say you can't remotely control an airplane that big, but on the website we go back 75 years to World War II, Operation Aphrodite, where they took B-17s, gutted them out to lighten the weight, and loaded them with a highly incendiary compound called Torpex, and pilots were required to make the takeoff, but once they got airborne, they'd bail out of the aircraft, and they were remotely guided to targets in Europe. Now, this is your first example of remote control airplanes, and it's 1944, okay? And if you jump ahead 40 years to 1984, NASA and the FAA conducted a joint crash test experiment where they took a Boeing 720, which is a large 4-engine plane, put crash dummies in it. What they were going to do is test crew and passenger survivability in the event of a crash landing. So they put crash dummies and cameras in this airplane. They took it off by remote control, flew it around the pattern 6 times before intentionally crash landing the aircraft. Now you jump ahead to the mid-1990s, that's when we can prove that this system, the uninterruptible autopilot, was developed. Now there's a Wikipedia article that talks about it being patented in 2006 after 9/11. Now that's true, but we have proof that it was developed and produced in the mid-1990s, and it's all on the website. So our contention is not what actually happened on 9/11, but what could not have happened, and that is these hijackers were totally unqualified on the airplane, totally inexperienced, and they couldn't have flown the profiles. And the only viable alternative explanation is this employment of the uninterruptible autopilot system.
Autopilot system.